Going in the Nether is scary enough as it is, but imagine walking through a portal back to the overworld and facing this enormous portal guarded by a dragon. I'll show you how to make it right now. Don't you go anywhere. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening and good night, depending on what time you're watching this next episode from me, Avomance, in my free build series. So what I'm doing, if you remember, I'm kind of freestyling a load of builds. I'm not planning them, I'm not practicing them, I'm sort of making them up as I go along. We've already done a modern house, we've done a rustic house, and I thought, what should I do next? And I thought, well, I've done it a few times. I've fiddled around with some nether gates, some nether portals, and I thought, you know what, let's make a nice nether portal, not just one of these rectangles that everybody does. Let's make it a bit fancy. So that's what I'm going to do today. Let's crack on with it right now. Now, whilst in a perfect world you wouldn't have to terraform anything, there is no such thing really, unless you're really, really lucky, as a perfect platform, a perfect palette, if you like, a perfect canvas. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to get this into a much better canvas. I like the fact that it's kind of two hills and that they're slightly offset with each other, and they look kind of nice. You can look from this angle, they look really, really good, and the surrounding is good, but we've got too much treeage and some of this ground just isn't quite right. So we need to fiddle around with it, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove some of these trees to start off with, because they're sort of in the way, aren't they? And we need them to not be in the way, because they're going to detract from the final result. And what I want for the final result is something relatively grand, I think, rather than just a little bit dull, like I don't know, just a rectangle of obsidian. I want it to be a little bit more exciting, maybe a centerpiece of a base, or maybe you could use it as an entrance to, maybe it's something like a massive dwarven cavern and it's like an entrance outside of that, or it's something just a little bit I don't know, World of Warcrafty. I know there's some really nice nether portals out there that are based on World of Warcraft. You could do something like that maybe, but what I want to do, I just want to have a bit of space so you can physically view it, and once I've done that I'll be able to really look at what it is I've got there in terms of the canvas. Oops, I didn't want to do that, let's just put that back. So as we can move forward, so you can see I've taken away a number of those trees here. I need to keep taking these trees away. I'm going to carry on doing that, and I'm also going to take away some of the ground as well, and maybe even add to some of the ground, because this bit here, actually this bit here is really, really good. This bit here is not so good. I need something in the middle, just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit, to give me a platform to play on. So for example, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slip in a load of grass here, so as it's just a little bit more standard. I'm going to build up on it. We're not going to leave it as grass, but I am going to be, you know, wanting to put stuff onto it, and I don't want to have to put 47 layers of stuff onto it. I just want to be able to put just a few things. So I'm just building this up just a little bit more, and then we'll almost certainly take some away from some of the areas as well, because there's going to be just too much in some areas. So I'm going to crack on with that, and when I've finished I will be back. So we've taken quite a lot away, as you can see. Loads of trees have been removed, and we've also put down a fair bit of dirt and removed some as well. But what we really need to do is create the framework. I think we've got a nice stand upon which we can put our nether portal now, but what we've not got is the frame. And the best frame for a nether portal is indeed the nether portal. So we're going to make the nether portal out of the obligatory obsidian. Now we're not going to go for the maximum 22 by 22 because it's just going to be too big. So we're just going to come across 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16, which is relatively medium sized for another portal. It's not small, but it's medium sized. And then we're not going to make it square, but we're going to make it nearly square by coming up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20. So we've come up 20, so it's 16 across and 20 tall. So let's just finish it off. So there we've got it. It is a nice frame. We've got something that we can build upon now. We know where we're going because this is what we're doing it with. And then we have to look at what our palette is going to be. And our palette is going to be very natural in its stoniness. I don't know why I've got 2 buckets of water there. Very natural in its stoniness. So we've got lots of stone-based stuff, andesite even has found its way in there, as has diorite, but not the polished type because they look rubbish. Then we've got normal stone. We've also got some terracotta and some concretes, a little bit of magma and glowstone, some netherrack, which we're going to light up using the flint and steel, and some quartz, because I've got some thoughts for the quartz. I'm a poet and I don't know it, but I'm not entirely sure if it's going to work. So like all freestyle stuff, we're making this up as we go along, and it might not work, so we might have to rub some out and fiddle around with it and add a bit and take a bit away, because that is the nature of the beast. So let's just build upon that frame by adding in, I'm going to use, just to start off with, I'm going to get in some of these stone brick blocks. We're just going to run all the way around the obsidian with the stone brick block. Now the reason I'm doing it with stone brick block is it forms a nice base. I like the way it looks. It looks like it's been properly constructed. It looks relatively natural and the colour scheme is nice. So that's why I'm using these particular blocks for this bit. But you could use any of these stone blocks. It doesn't matter. It's entirely your choice. This is your Nether Portal. You make it the way you want to make it, and I'll make it the way I want to make it. And we're just going to surround all of that obsidian from the front. And then where we've got obsidian shown on the back, we're going to show it here as well. Because what we want to try and reduce is the amount of obsidian that is visible. Now obviously we can't make the inside bit invisible. We have to have that completely open, otherwise the entire gate won't work. But I do keep falling down, right? But we can encase all the rest. This kind of building up part of the gate is probably the easiest bit, because you're just going to be adding blocks here, adding blocks there, then taking blocks away and then adding some more and doing stuff like that, because it's just relatively creative. So that's that bit. Then we're going to come all the way around it and trim it off. So we've got no obsidian visible whatsoever anywhere except for the inside. And frankly, you're never going to see any of these blocks. They're not going to be visible except potentially at the edges ever so slightly. So it's almost irrelevant the block you use. Almost. Just depends what you fancy. So come around this side and finishing off this side as well. Like that. So now we've got a really nice frame around the Nether Portal. I've not done the underneath of the bottom because we're basically going to block that off anyway, and it's not going to matter. Now what I like to do first is we've got to try and work out how you're going to enter this Nether Portal, and we've got what is, I guess it lends itself to a natural sweeping down of this of like almost like a sweeping spiral-esque staircase. So I'm going to try and build that in freehand, which is always a challenge, just with cobblestone in the first instance, by coming down and across and down and across like that. Is that going to be enough down and across? I think that might be. One more down and across and out, and then come down again one, and that brings us out to this platform, and we can make a platform part way, and we've got to come out. So that was there, so that's going to come out there and there. And the way it's I want to try and make it as almost as symmetrical as we possibly can. So it's going to come down and across, down and across like that, then come down there. So we have to remove out some of this, which is fine. We always knew we were going to have to get rid of some of this anyway. Let's get rid of that, down and across. So if we line that up, then, so that means that this bit is also in the way. So let's get it out of the way. Down like that, hang on. So that's going to come down like that, and then so we just need to remove this bit as well. And that goes there. We'll make this look a little bit more pretty once we've established the shape of everything else. So that is going to come out, except I can't fly. Right, so that is going to come out there, there and there. Right, so I think that's looks the same on both sides. Then we can build a platform out that is this large Now the cobblestone is just a base, it's not the actual platform itself. And fill that in like that. That looks alright, doesn't it? And then we're coming here and we're going to come down one from the base of that platform, and then we're going to come down one and across like that. So if I just put that there and that there, and one and across again, and one and across again, it makes for quite a nice sweep. I like the way that's worked actually. That looks pretty good. I'm happy. And then we're just going to have to one and across again, one and across again, and then we're going to go straight again. So I'm going to have to take out some of this again because it's in the way. You come down, get rid of that, that and that. Okay, that's good, that's good. Let's put that back there. And we can create another platform coming out like that. That size. In fact, we can make that platform even bigger, can't we? Let's make that platform ever so slightly bigger. I reckon that's big enough there. Like that. And fill that one in there. So if we come back, we can see that it's starting to come together. So what I'm now going to do now, I'm just going to join up these steps so as we can visualize it just a little bit more easily. Right, so I think that this platform needs to trim off by one there, doesn't it? Because otherwise it's not following on. And then again by one there. Again by one there. One there. And one there. But then it's going to need to come out like that. Well, that works quite well. So there we go. So we've got a sweepy platform. It comes down and around. And now we just need to join up these bits here. Bear in mind, this is just a framework again. We're not necessarily going to be using this for our final steps. In fact, I'm fairly certain we won't be using it for the final steps. This is just so as we can visualize. I'll finish this off. So the sweep is like that. I'm just going to bring this out one more, I think, on each side here, because I think it just needs to complete. That's better. That's much better. Let's get that underpinned at there and there. How are we doing for that? Okay, so that's starting to look okay on that side. This side was already underpinned anyway, so we're happy with that. That doesn't need to be like that, does it? That should be a grass block for now, just to keep the visualization separate. That should also be a grass block for now. So there we go. So we've got that working on both sides, I think. Now on the underside, it sort of doesn't matter what we do because this bit's going to be invisible. But I do want to light it up because what I don't like is the old growls going on in there when we get some mobs spawning in the dark. So I'm just literally going to light it up just to stop the mob spawning. It has absolutely no function whatsoever other than the mobs not spawning. So, but what we are going to do, we want to be able to get out of the back side of this one. So I'm just going to build out a more basic step. We don't want this to be our main entrance. We want this to be almost like a back entrance. And I suspect it's going to be relatively blocked anyway, so I'm not even going to make it jazzy. I'm just going to keep it as cobble because it's not part of the aesthetic build at all. It is purely just to act as a, well, if you happen to come out on this side by accident, you've got somewhere to go and you're not just stranded looking at some vast chasm of nothingness that you can't actually get out with. Get out of the way, piggy. There we go. So you have an exit that will go out the back like that, but we're not too worried about that at the moment because we're going to be building up around it. There we go. So we've got a nice frame, we've got a sweeping exit. We are going to continue this in a bit, but we're not quite ready to do that as yet. Now what I want to try and do is kind of just sort of randomly start to build out the outside of these sides. Just build them out with some random blocks just to start to build some structure, and I'm going to take some away and add some in and do all sorts with it, and I'm just going to do this quickly. I'll keep filming whilst I do it, so you sort of see what I'm doing, but I'll speed it up a bit so as it doesn't take forever, because this bit is going to take a little bit of time. So we've built it up. It still looks quite square, so it's not going to be finishing anything like the way it looks right now, because it still looks way too square. But what we are going to do is we're going to start to put some detail on it. And the reason I want to do it now is because I don't want to basically overlook the ability to put a little bit of detail in. And what I'm going to do is a bit of a risk, to be honest, because I don't know if it's going to work or not. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a column of marble, and yeah, arguably you don't have to put the middle one in, but I'm in creative. What does it matter? If you're doing this in survival, you've got to get a lot of resources, mate. I'll tell you that for nothing. But if you're doing it in survival, maybe miss the middle one out if you want to. So what I did, I built just a small cobble platform, 3x3, for me to be able to build this marble pillar on. So let's just get this marble pillar going up. So if I come back and have a look, I think it might just work. I think we're going to be all right. So let's just carry on. It's good just when you're doing these make it up as you go along builds, you just have to keep checking what's going on from a distance, so as you don't make yourself look like a bit of a nana, because the last thing you want is to be shouting "Avo you Wally" and having to undo everything you've done. You need to check as you go. But I reckon that once we get to near the top, I'm going to be able to taper off this particular column. Are we there yet? Do I want to go up another couple? I reckon another couple, and then we'll start to taper it off like that, and like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do one more row, and then we're going to come and trim it with some quartz stairs, and we're going to go all the way around the top of quartz stairs. Let's see if this works. Quartz stairs will be upside down all the way around, so it gives the impression of a big column that has got a support edge around the top, and it should just about be coming into contact with the gate as we have it so far. Now we're going to obviously build that gate in, so there is one column. We're going to need to go around the bottom in exactly the same way. So we have one there. We'll build, don't worry about the fact that we've got gaps underneath these. It doesn't matter. They're just going to go like that. And then I'm going to come around there. That's going to go like that, and I'm going to lose that, and that can go into the wall. Okay, so that is quite nice. I like the way that looks. So now I'm just going to duplicate that on the other side, and then we'll start to build it up a little bit more. So we've completed an arch by putting another pillar on this side and just coming around it with quartz blocks over the top. But what we need to do now is we need to basically bring the rest of the frame that we've got here into this archway so as it becomes one. Because at the minute all we've got is we've got an archway in front of an hole, and we don't want an archway in front of an hole. That's the last thing you want. You want it to integrate into one into the other. So we're going to start to integrate that into it now, just literally by bringing out blocks that kind of join up the two. And again, this is kind of random. in exactly the same way as it was right at the very beginning. We're making it random, and I may well delete some of these blocks that I'm putting in at the moment as well. It really doesn't matter which ones you're using. It's quite good to use diorite, because diorite obviously has the advantage of being a lighter colour, which means it maybe, just maybe, merges a little bit more nicely with the quartz than does maybe some of the darker colours like that. So we're just going to carry on doing that, and when we've done that, we're going to come back and see what is the next step, because we've got an awful lot to do on this build still, loads and loads in fact, before we even start to get into some of the finer detail. It's going to be fun. Let's crack on. So we've sort of brought the portal inside, so it's joined up. You can see, look, it kind of grows into the pillars all the way around, and it sort of does it on the back, but the back is less important. And the reason the back's less important is we're now going to grow this portal, or at least we're going to grow the outside of the portal, because what we want is, when we look at it from sort of back here, it's on the outside of these pillars, so it doesn't look like the pillar's the widest part. It needs to come out. So I need to just use a really simple block. I'm going to use cobblestone, and I'm going to come up above the portal about here, and we're just going to look and see how much higher we want to come. And I'm looking at that, and I think that's probably about right. And then what we want to do is, now remember, this isn't the actual outline, this is just a guide, a bit like when you draw a face, you draw a circle with a cross in the middle. And if you didn't know that, that's what you do when you draw a face. I didn't know that either, but you do that, and you come along and you come down and you kind of make a bit of an outline, and you come down this way and you make a bit more of an outline. And it doesn't matter that it doesn't follow this, it just doesn't matter at all, because all you're doing is building yourself a bit of a framework to come out and around. Let's just check that. How far out has that come? I don't want it to come too far because it will be too big, but I reckon that is about right. And I'm going to start to come down. Actually, I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to get rid of that one. That's going to come down further. That is going to come down 1, 2, 3, out 3, 4. I reckon there. And remember, this is freehand. I am literally making this up as I go along, and I've got to take a big step back in a minute, because I reckon I'm going to end up in a drink. I've got some water there. No, I've missed it. It is all good, but this has come slightly further than I thought it would, but that's all right. Let's look at it from a distance. I actually reckon that is okay. Now, I don't want it to be too archy, and I'm going to make it a little bit less regular than that, but I do want it to be at least almost the same on both sides, in that I don't want one side to be loads further out than the other. So let's just come out a bit further this way. I'm going to come down, out and down. How is that looking according to the other side? Yeah, it's about right, isn't it? So we're going to keep coming out a little bit further, out a little bit further, and then perhaps down 2, out, down 3 and out, down 4 and out, and then down. So if I look at this, this should be more or less the same width on that side as it is on that side. Don't worry that it's all kind of onto this dirt, because we're going to come out and beyond that, and it will look fine by the end. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to get ourselves some various stony colours, and we're just going to build up in exactly the same way as we did it before, and we're going to build up and just make it so as it's, I don't know, just nicely textured by randomly adding block. And with this side we're going to randomly add block instead of the dirt, like this. You can see we're doing it here, and that way we create a nice varied texture, but we maintain the line. So I think this is basically going to be the outside here, isn't it? So let's get rid of those two and that one, and come down all the way down like that, so we can probably lose all of this. Actually, now I'm looking at it, we don't want this because this is going to be too far forward, I suspect. So let's get rid of that and that. I reckon that's okay. And then we're going to come down, and I reckon this is going to be the last row. So let's make this actually the last row in that fact. It's going to come in there and now down. Do we want that? So I reckon that's about as far out as we want to come. So that's alright. So let's get rid of all this dirt, because this dirt's just going to be in the way, isn't it? We don't want dirt in the way, it's just dirty. And we're going to come there. We've got a line. Okay, so that works. So we're just going to add, we're not going to go back too far, but we're going to go back a little bit as well. with random blocks placed in random ways across the back of this, just so as we can start to build up the structure of this portal. And it needs to look a little bit like a cave, or at least the mouth of a cave with the portal inside it. If you can visualize that, that is the effect I'm going for. And it may not work, because this is probably the hardest part of the whole build, getting this bit right. And I'm going to be moving around this for some time, just trying to get the texture in right. I'll be putting blocks in and taking blocks out and putting more blocks in, and this is the bit a lot of people like the most, because it's to do with texturing and getting things with a little bit more character, and other people find really laborious. I quite like it, I have to say, but it does suck time really, really badly. So let's get a little bit more cobble in here, get a bit more coming out. What we want to do is we don't want to come out beyond this row, ideally, and actually, whilst we do want to cover all of this kind of back row here, we only want to come out in the front row in a couple of spaces. So it's kind of like that, and that way it's going to overlap into the thing. We're probably going to have to do something with that, because I don't like the way that's shadowing, but let's see what it looks like by the time we've finished, and we'll worry about it then. So let's just stick more blocks on here. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to carry on doing this and keep playing it for a while on a speed up, but eventually I'm going to end up having to do it on my own, because this could take hours, and you don't want to be watching me do this for hours. Alright, let's crack on. So we've shoved a fair old number of blocks there. What I want to do now, before we do the next bit, is get some steps going on it as well, because it's all very, very blocky. Look at that, that's a massive great angle going on there. We don't want that angle like that at all, do we? And then we're going to shove some stairs just to try and make it a little bit less blocky, because we don't do blocky, and we're going to use various slabs and steps just to try and soften the edges ever such a little bit to create just a slightly nicer feel across the entire build. So I'm just going to carry on doing this for a little bit. You can see I'm again working on the basis of completely random without any idea of what I'm doing, but that's alright, because sometimes when you go random it actually really works out for you, because it just kind of fits. For whatever reason, random just works sometimes. Doesn't always work, absolutely not, but sometimes it does, and you just got to just roll with it, I suppose. Make some nice patterns on the wall if you like. Look, there we go, there's a nice little bit of the start of a pattern there, look. And we can bring that down like that, and we can get a half slab into some of these areas here. Let's shove a half slab in there, soften that darkness just a little bit. There is a lot of cobble. We're going to be fixing the fact that this cobble is quite heavy fairly shortly, and by doing some other stuffs, hopefully some relatively clever stuffs, that is going to give it an even better shape, because at the minute it's still not quite the way I want it to be. I'm not too worried about the back. The back is really sorting out the front. So so if I come back, I'll show you the back. It's not quite the same, but the back isn't what we're trying to do. The front is what we're really trying to do. The back only gets a little bit of attention just for completeness, really. It's all about this frontal area. Let's come along now, one now. He says as he does more of the back. So we're going to get a little bit more in the front, a little bit on top of that. Then let's get some stone slabs and shove these in, because these are quite nice. I like the way the stone slabs work. And you notice sometimes we're just covering up the slabs and the stone blocks that we've put in there, and some of the coloured blocks, and that's because that's just the way random works, right? Sometimes random is exactly that, it's random. And I am rambling on way too much, so let's get this bit done, and then we can come back to it, and you can maybe have a think about what you would do if you were going to do this building yourself, and where you'd put some stuff, and what you'd put some half slabs there and why you wouldn't put half slabs there and all that kind of malarkey. And in the meantime, I'm going to get this finished, and then we're going to start to put a little bit more of the detail onto it. I'm really excited about getting to the end of this build. I've got a good idea. I don't know if it's going to work. It could be a complete and abject disaster, but you never know. It's worth a shot, right? Don't go anywhere, otherwise you're not going to see it. Right, I am all slabbed out now, but I am not fenced out. I'm going to stick some stone fences, especially into the recesses here, look like that, just to give a bit more depth and texture, because you'll say that a lot when you watch my video. Depth and texture, that's what we're looking for within the build. So I'm going to be putting some fence bits onto pretty much wherever I fancy, to be honest with you, just to give some more shape really to the entire build. So you can see the difference it makes. Actually, just a few fences already starts to give a different shape to the build, and we're going to stick just a few more. I've got some mossy fences as well, because they're quite nice. So you can stick them on like that, and they look really quite nice. I like the way they look very much. And we shove, no, not out there, we shove them here and here, and we get some kind of around the top as well to give a little bit more shape. Because what we've not got with these blocks, what I think we've not got, is loads and loads of really nice shape to the build. Look, so if we do that across like that, you can see it makes for quite a nice feel across the front there. And stick another one there, that continues that block, and just carry on shoving these things pretty much anywhere you fancy, whether it is a normal one, whether it is a mossy one, I don't know, just do it how you want it. This is your build, isn't it? You do what you want when you do yours. I'll do what I want when I do mine. That seems like a fair arrangement to me. There we go, let's get that in there and there and there. We want a little bit more on this side, look, because that's not quite got enough texture on that. It's a little bit absent. So we come in there and there. Let's get a bit there and a bit in there. I like the contrast this green is putting onto this grey background. So let's just take a step back and see how that looks. You can see it's starting to give it just a little bit more life, actually. That looks really, really good. And now what we're going to do is I want to start to build up these edges. I don't know why I'm holding a magma block, that's not what I want at all. We're going to start to build up these edges, because here we've got this lovely big path that's coming into the system, but there isn't anything happening, and we want to have something happening. We want, you know, a big fencey thing or a big wall thing that guides the walker down the side, you know, down to the actual to the port, you know, to the portal. We want, why am I talking? I'm talking too much. Have I shut up and start building stuff? So we just want to get that like that. So there we go. So we've got a wall starting to form there, but I don't want it to be just a one high wall. I want this to be a substantial wall. This is a substantial build, so we need some substantial wallings, don't we? And that wall has to go there like that and follow down like, get rid of that. Okay, so you can see it's going too wide all the way down to the bottom, so we want that to be too wide as well. And then that needs to be too wide. In fact, that can come there and there. We're going to have to do something inside of that. I'm not quite sure what yet. That can come there and there. Like that and like that. Like that and like that. Up and up. I wonder if this is going to work or not. It may not. It may not. Let's see. We do have to get rid of that and that. That can come down. You can get two wall there. So in a moment I'm going to step back and I'm going to be horrified at what it is we have created. That can go and that can go. Right there. So let's just take a step back. And how does that look from this angle? Now that's okay. You know what? That does work. I'm not unhappy with that. So now we've got to come again against the wall and get ourselves, where is the wall? That is the wall. And get ourselves too high there. So that can come up like that. That can come up, whoops, like that, too high. Too high. That then has to come to the side. Too high, otherwise we're going to end up losing it. Too high. Too high. Like that. And then we're coming up, not there. We're something on the outside as well. How is that working? That's not quite gone the right way, has it? So we need to replace these cobbles here with brick. That needs to go there, that needs to go like that. That has to go there. Cobble with brick, cobble with brick. That is a flat surface so as it can stay like that. Oops, like that. I don't want to do that. Right, so let's get there and there. Okay, so how has that worked? That's not worked. I am too low on this side, which I should have known. Let's get that there and there. And that's better. Look, that carries on. What was I doing? What on earth was I doing? But what this means is here and here we do have to stick there like that. So that's a good start. We're going to augment that a little bit more. That is not done, not by any stretch of the imagination. Can't even talk. But we are going to start with that. And I think, you know, this will come down into some kind of, I don't know, open, maybe courtyardy, detailed thing. Not entirely sure. But what we are going to do is we've got to start to do this. This is a way too square. And what you can do with nether portals, and what's really interesting with a nether portal is, as long as you don't place a block on the obsidian like that, you have a working nether portal. And what that means is you can actually place blocks on the inside like this, and it looks really quite good, especially when the nether portal is on, because what you end up with is the shadow of the blocks behind it coming through, and it looks really quite nice. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start to build up a frame around the inside of here, just on the back in the first instance, and we're going to work on the front. The front's going to be more detailed. The back is really just a bit of imagery, I guess, so we can vaguely see it through where it's visible. We're going to come along here. No, not there, don't do that, because then it won't work, will it? Like that. Get that off. Oh no! What's going on? See, that's me. I can't do it. It's all silly. Get that back like that. There we go. So I just middle clicked there to get my block selection much faster. I don't know if you know that trick, but if you middle click on your mouse, you end up with a really fast way to change your block, because it changes into whatever it is you've got pointing at if you're in creative. If you're in survival, you've got to have it in your inventory, but it still does the same thing. So there we go. So we've got a bit of a frame on the inside there. So then I'm going to get my stone stairs, and wherever I've got the edge of a block, I'm just going to stone stairs it up, and that will give a softer edge when you look through the nether portal. And you'll see what I mean when we eventually turn this thing on, which will be right at the very end. Down there, down there, there, and there. Right, so we've got the back end of the nether portal. Now the theory is, you can see it's not regular, it's a little bit wobbly, and that's good. We want it a little bit wobbly because this is going to be an irregular hole. It's going to look, you know, a little bit random, and this is what we're really trying to achieve. And what we're going to do again is we're going to get, where's my block again? I'm going to use, where is it? That's the one I want. I'll use the stone brick and come on the inside of this as well. Now this, bear in mind, this is the one that we're going to see the most of. So I'm going to line it all the way around. It helps to hide that ever so slightly unsightly obsidian, which I don't like in this build. It's not in keeping with this build, at least not where it is. We might have to put up with it a little bit when we walk through, I grant you, but I don't want to have it like that. There we go. So we've got an area that we do actually walk through at the top there, but here we're going to come up and up and up and around, and then eventually we're going to start to build out some nice shape. And this is, again, properly freestyle. Make whatever shape it is you fancy. Coming down here, leave some gaps and make it interesting, and like that. Look, there we go. I don't like that at all. Let's get that out like that. That can't go there then. I'm going to come there with that. Up and up and up. Now that does look a little bit too cornery, and that's alright because we'll adjust that in time. Around and around and around. step back. That's a little bit too regular on this side, so let's take out some blocks there like that. It almost matches the back, but not quite, which is okay. Then we're going to get, again, our stone steps, get them in here, exactly the same way as we did for the last one at the back, by putting stone steps wherever there is a join. So there and there, and that's a join there, obviously. There. Or can you tell I'm concentrating because I'm not really talking very much, am I? Right, so that's the shape, a kind of a shape there like that, and we can start to adjust that if we want. We can put shapes within that shape, so it doesn't have to be a straight line here. For example, we could, let's change this up again, and we could put just in here, we could maybe put, I don't know, 1 2 3 1 like that, and then we can get our steps again. See how this looks? We can go there and there, there and there, and if we wanted to, we just put a set of steps there just to put that in like that. So that comes in like that, which looks okay-ish, but it's going to need something matching at the top here, otherwise that's not going to work. So we need to come down and out there, otherwise it's going to look a bit daft. So we've got a portal shape coming around like that, and it looks a little bit like a, I don't know, like a teardrop-ish. This is too straight, so let's shove a bit there and a bit there, like that. And that's too uniform. So we've got, okay, we're going to leave that like that. We might have to play with that because I'm not entirely sure it's quite right yet. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, again, the same way as we have here, we're going to start to randomly just put some bits of rock of various types on the front here, and we're going to build it up so as it becomes part of the internal structure, like that. We're going to use all the different types of blocks that we've been using, like that, and then we'll get some stone, brick again, just randomly shoved in here. We'll get some cobble in a sec and do it with some cobble too. I just want one layer. Like that. Oh god, I almost missed. There we go. And let's get some mossy. And where possible, sometimes, you notice what I've done here, it was random, but it works. It just kind of continues it on quite nicely. Like that. Do it there, there and there, and just carry on this. I'm not going to do it on the back, not at the moment. I've got some plans for the back, not entirely sure if they're going to work yet. And then we're going to get some, where's my cobble? I've lost my cobble for a minute then, that doesn't do at all, will it? Right, so one, I'm going to shove some cobble in there and there. Now, let's get this thing so as it's a little bit more built up. Cobble quite popular on this one actually. I quite like the way the cobble works with everything else. Cobble's going to be my most popular block, I think, on this particular build. There we go, then we can bring that out a little bit more like that as well. So you can see if I take a step back, it starts to bring that portal away from being just a flat surface, and it makes a huge difference. And what we can do is we can even start to build out these areas a little bit further, just to make it even more realistic, I guess, to the way it should look. So we can put some steps under there. And what I do want to do actually, where's my cobblestone steps gone? Hang on, let's get some cobblestone steps. We're going to stick some of these in. We're going to shove some, not in every step place, but we're going to shove some in where we've got sections there, and then also create some more texture in some of these areas. Let's stick a bit there as well actually. Stick one there, one in there. I think that could do with one as well. Just one of those, why don't we? And one in there, one in there. We can start to just again give a bit of texture to some of these gaps. Leave some as holes. and then this one on this side can become that like that, and then that one up the top can go like that. Okay, so that sort of works, doesn't it? Let's just put a step like that there. Yeah, I like it. I think when we like that, that's going to look fairly good. But we're going to need to do a little bit more detail on that. It's not done, not at all. We need to do something that's going to just remove this entire grey mass. And what I think we'll do is we're going to do some hanging light. So how much space have we got here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if I go 3 in on both sides, on that bit there, 2, 3, no, there we go, come down 2 like that. Yeah, that'll work. And then we're going to get some glowstone, because this is a portal to the nether after all, therefore glowstone is a factor. And we're going to create, how big do we want it? This is the question. We're going to create a fairly large lantern shape. Now it might be that that's big enough. Is that big enough? We're going to take a step back and see what we reckon. Yeah, so if we just put one more block on the bottom of that, how does that look? Would it look better if we just had it like that, perhaps? As a sort of star shape. I think that's better. I think that's better. Yeah, so let's come 1, 2, 3, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, and 1. Come on, get in there. There you go. 1 there, 1 there. So that is some dangling stuff, some light, and I'm just going to see what it looks like because I've not tried this. What does it look like if we trapdoor it up? Now we're not going to be able to trapdoor every surface, so I'm not sure this is going to work. No, it's not. I'm giving up. I'm not going to do that because I don't think it's going to work, but that looks okay. So what I'd like to do here also is create in the curve here a bit of a pit. So let's get some, what should we do? Let's do it in just standard stone for now and see if it works. So this curve here, and create a bit of a circle first, like that. So as it goes, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So that's going to be there, up like that. Is that going to be too tall? That's my question. That is pretty tall, isn't it? But no, I don't think that is too tall. Actually, I think that works all right. And let's get some brick. Yeah, let's get some stone brick. And we're going to create a ridge around the edge of this. Hopefully it will follow on all the way around. There and there. That follows there. So we come on this side. Do that. And that. And stick that on like that. And that on like that. That follows, okay. Then that like that. That like that, that like that. No, that's not going to work. Come on. Get in there. That like that, that like that, that there. There you go. That's what we want. We want that now. There. There. There and there. Come inside here. Get rid of that because that ain't going to work, is it? And 1 there and 1 there. So that gives us the kind of thing that we're after there. But I do want to get rid of these inner blocks because that's looking a bit not right. And that is definitely looking a bit not right. So let's just put a block there and there back again. Let's get that like that. And can't control myself as that works. There we go, that's better. We can get rid of that and that. And then here we can start to build something out. It doesn't matter whether or not this is filled up because, well, it just doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill all this up on this level with netherrack, I think. Is that going to look silly on the outside? Actually, you know what? It don't look silly. I quite like that That is a discovery that I wasn't expecting. There we go. And so then one layer up, we're going to pop the netherrack up again. There and there. We're not going to light it yet, but we will eventually like that. And I just want to randomly just stick some cobble in here, just to make it a little bit more attractive. And actually also I'm going to put a bit of mossy cobble and there as well. There we go. Right, so that is one thing. Now we really should have something on the other side as well, shouldn't we? And now we have. I've put exactly the same on the other side. I may review that netherrack on the outside. I am getting increasingly less convinced that that's right. Let's see what it looks like when we finish the build. What I've also done is I've brought out the path just into a widening area because I've got some thoughts about what I might do on that. Still not completely sure, but I wanted to broaden it out so as it was basically further open. It wasn't just narrow path, it needs to open out so as I can do something with it. Now what I'm going to do is something kind of in the sides in here, but to do that I think I'm going to need, let's just come down here, I'm going to need to build out this grass just a little bit more because it's going to be, if it's got too many levels it's going to throw me off. I need a flatter space to do this and then it might work a little bit better. So let's get all this grass in here like this, and then once we've done that I can start to do some building. So let's crack on with that. Okay, that might just about be enough. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this out and I'm going to use some stone bricks just as a marker. What I want is to come along this being the central bits kind of here, and we're going to come down, let's say there. Is that going to be big enough? Let's do there. We're going to do there and there. Ooh, there, and there. So I'm just experimenting with the size a little bit here. It's not obviously a perfect circle, but it's circular, and I think that will work. So I need to do something of a similar size on the other side. So if I come along this way, got to be careful. How many bits out is that? How many bits out? So we got from here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 5 out from there. So we're going to do the same on this side. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that one, and then just to even it out because I want it to be even, they are the same, and that's come down. There are 2 blocks between that and that, so that's how we're going to work it out. See if we can get this right. I suspect this might not work, but let's give it a go anyway. And that is 1, 2. There you go. Have a little bit of faith in the old Avo. You know it makes sense. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep coming round. And there we go. So we've got 2 circular objects on either side of that pathway that we're going to turn into something a little bit more grandiose. I want it to look kind of imposing when you come at it from this sort of distance. I want the big arch and I want the fiery furnacey pit things there, and then I want just a short stubby tower is essentially how I'm going to describe this thing. It's a short stubby tower, which doesn't sound very exciting, but I think once we give it sufficient detail and decoration, I think it will look quite nice. So I'm only going to come up about 10 probably in terms of its height in blocks, which I think is enough. So what I'll do, I'll get these 2 towers about 10 high, just plainly with block brick, and once I've done that, we'll come back and we'll start to play around with some of the other stuff and make sure that we've got enough detail going in and that we've not got any of this landscape in the way, because there could be more terraforming required. And we've got one now right in the back there, and I've started to build up a couple of extra towers in the front as well, because I want this to be a little bit more grandiose than just a couple of little flame pits in the front. And those sheep probably don't want to be sticking around here too long because I want to do some stuff in those gaps. So this is what I want to do as a tower, and I'm started on the other side as well here, look, but I wanted to finish that off with you. We're using some various different types of stone, a bit like I do in the walls on my house tutorials, where we've got cobble, brick and smooth stone, and then we've used some steps. And inside here we've got some glowstone to light up the inside so it looks all glowy, and then here we've got a little bit more netherrack that we will light up eventually. So what I want to do is I just want to kind of emulate what I've done on the other side, on this side, which was basically getting a tower in all of these little recesses of the cobblestone wall all the way up to the top. All the way up, and then we're going to just basically make it exactly the same as the other side, and then we're going to start to do a little bit more landscaping, and then I want to try and do something. I'm calling it adventurous. We could also call it mad. Now I've had this idea that I had probably about halfway through the build that I thought, oh, that will look really good, but it could also look really, really awful if I don't do it very well. It could completely ruin it. So be prepared for me to do half of it and then decide that it's not what I want to do at all and to rub it out. So be prepared for that. I'm not going to edit it out. I am going to start with it because I don't like doing when you try something and then you have to edit it out and you don't show it, because that's not part of the natural process. When you do these freestyle builds, these freehand builds, you've got to really include all of the bits, including the mistakes and the errors and the bits that you decide to change, because if you don't do that, it's not truly freestyle, is it? It's more just a planned build that you happen to have thought as you go along. So that's why I want to make sure that we do it properly, and that's why I'm not editing out the fact that I'm placing walls in entirely the wrong place. So that's what we've got on that side. Now I'm going to be changing up these walls a little bit by putting some random bits of different block in, just to make it look a little bit more natural, I suppose is the right word. So let's get that one out there and turn that into that there, and just one there, and we're going to also do the same with some smooth stone as well. Get that up like that, put that in the corner, and this is a really good technique. You kind of just texture in the walls. It's really simple. I use 3 different types of brick. You don't have to do any more than that. Any more than that actually starts to look a little bit weird. So I use the stone bricks, and then I also use cobble, and then I also use smooth stone, and between the 3 of them they start to make a very attractive looking combination for a wall. You get some real depth with the cobble, especially when you look at it from a slight distance, and you also get stuff that looks really quite nice. You can see, coming back, you can see you get different depths. It looks here like the bricks are standing out ever so slightly, same as the cobble, and it just makes for a better texture and a better overall feel, gives more three-dimensional. It stops it looking quite so blocky, because there's nothing worse than a blocky looking house. And let's get that one in there like that. That one can go there, that one there, and it's semi-random. I mean, obviously we're looking at it and we're thinking, okay, that's going to look better there and that's going to look better there, but it is semi-random like that. I can just put a bit of cobble on the top of that one, and I think we just need to, I reckon that needs a bit of cobble as well. So there we go. We've got a relatively semi-random bottom end of the tower. So if we come and look at this side of the tower as well, what we've got is, so if you can imagine, anything below this bit here, the bit above the step, and then this bit up here, we've done on the other side. But what we do need to do is we need to get ourselves there, there and there, bits of wall all the way around, and on the 4th one, just like that. And then I'm just going to show you on this side, we've got 2 bits of wall on each edge. I've not changed up the bit in the middle there, but I have changed up these steppy bits. And then we're going to get on top of this another row of upside down stairs. So just going to put, well, there and there, and hopefully this will make it dead easy for if you wanted to follow this almost on a block by block basis, you'll be able to do it. I'm going to get my upside down steps, and we're going to go upside down steps all the way around here in a continuous row, and we want it to, go on, get in there, there you go. We want it to just flow all the way around And I think what I did on top of this, I've got to remind myself what I did. Get out of the way there, that's not where I want it. There, nope, there, and there. Then on top of these, I've got, where's my wall? There's my wall. On top of this, on top of the step part of this, we put a wall all the way around. Or did I put a wall all the way around first? Yes, I did, all the way around first. On top of the steps themselves, rather than the inside blocks. And then on these inner corners, we've stuck an extra bit of wall, which acts as a nice tiny column inside there. Then we've got glowstone, and we're going to come down one row there, and put a glowstone layer all the way across the inside here. I've put a bit of glowstone at the bottom there. That is just to stop mobs from spawning, so you don't get that horrible zombie growl, because it will be dark as all hell in there. The light from this glowstone may or may not, depending on how tall you've made this tower, may or may not reach the base, because the light does generally start to get less as you go down. So if you've made this a little bit taller, you're going to need a little bit of glowstone in the bottom, and then I cover that up with trapdoor, because I like the effect. Not that it changes anything in terms of the light, I just like the way it looks, frankly, and it's all about aesthetic, this build. And then what we're going to get here is we're going to put a row running around the outside, basically coming just on the inside, so you can see what we've done there. If I kind of show you what we've done, so we've got just on the inside there, we've got this coming out, and then that comes out like that and goes all the way around like that, and it creates a nice shape, which we've got again on the other side. So I'm not a very good shot. Line it up. Come on, Avomance, you can do better than that. There and there. I sometimes wish I was a faster builder. I'm a fairly decent builder, even if I do say so myself, but I wish I was a faster builder. And then get rid of that and put that back. And then we're going to run around the inside of this, which should create at the end of it a 2x2 hole in the middle, which we are going to fill up with netherrack in just a second. There and there. And if we get our netherrack in there, 1, 2, 3 and 4. There you go. So how different is that now? Just looking, what did I forget? I know what I've forgotten. There we go. I've forgotten the wall on the outside of this. So we're going to put there, leave a gap there, leave a gap there, leave a gap there, and then we're going to get around the outside of that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. And I think that is now matching, and all I've got to do is just change up some of the blocks in here the way we did with the other wall, like that, randomly again, or semi-randomly anyway, and then we'll do exactly the same with some cobble in a minute. That like that, yes, perfecto. And then get some cobble, do exactly the same. Actually, I'm going to just stick a smooth on that one as well. Get some cobble and interchange with some cobble. Let's go for that one in the middle there. That can be cobble, that can be cobble, that can be cobble, that can be cobble, and I think let's make that one cobble as well, and I think that will do. I don't want to overdo it too much. I want to keep it mostly stone brick, because that's in keeping with the rest of the build. So there we go. We've got 2 towers. Now what we need to do now is do something with this landscape, so it kind of continues down and around, and something with this bit on the front as well. Let's crack on with that now. So what I've done off camera here, you can see we have built in a bit of a wall coming off the edge. Can you see just outside the arch on that side, and then also on this side. And my FPS is suffering a little bit here, but also just on the outside of that side we've got a wall that runs all the way around. I've pared back just 1 notch this platform here, and we've used some dirt just to check that we're all lined up. It's a little bit like a set square, so we know that this top of the wall is the same height as that top of the wall. This part of the tower here that's going to act as a bit of a gate post is the same part of that tower there, and it is in line with the edge of that bit which is also in line with the edge of that bit. So we know we're all kind of in line, and we can start to do a bit more building. I'm just going to remove this dirt, use dirt just simply because it shows itself up against all of that stone. And what we're going to do is we're going to get 2 wide all the way across, and we're going to take it to about there. So we've come out 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to start to build a bit of an arch. So to build an arch, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just basically do that and up and up. Whoop, there, we don't want that one, we just want that one. Then we're going to come across 2, then we're going to come down like that, and come around and up and down there, and that is going to meet this wall there. So you can see we've got a bit of an arch, and then what we do, because you can see we're a little bit inconsistent, we need another bit of wall just there to finish off the arch. And then when we look at the arch from a distance, it's the same. You can see it's like the same on both sides. Now we're going to fix some of this geological area here. Basically we're going to have to fiddle around with the land so as it all matches up a lot more nicely than that. But I'm just going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. Coming along, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. And also here. So we know that we came out 3. So let's fill that in with the wall there. And I'm placing blocks like a nutcase. You know why? It's because I've got my wrist sitting on my mouse pad, and that is affecting what I'm doing. Come on, mate, get a life. There we go. So that's like that. And then we come up and across like that. Up and across like that. Then we come out 2, 3, 4. Down, across, down, and across. Placing too many blocks. There we go. And we're just going to have to fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get that connected up like that. And we should find that we've got an archway on both sides that's exactly the same. Now we're going to detail that a little bit more obviously, but that is the structure that we want on that. And then we can get rid of this bit of dirt here because we don't want it. That was just to check we were lined up. So let's get rid of all of that. And we can build up these towers now so as they're as high as we want them. So I'm not quite sure how high that is yet, so I'm just going to keep building until I'm happy. So now let's get it level with the height of the wall for now, because I'm not going to change the height of the wall. That's going to stay the way it is. And then let's see what happens when we come up maybe 3 higher than that, and we'll do a bit of an assessment. So that's 1, that's 2, that is 3. So how does that look there? Okay, so I'm going to leave that like that. I think that's fine because it's going to gain a little bit more height naturally off of what I'm going to do with it next anyway, because we're going to make a bit of a kind of a gateway for this, but a big long arched gateway across these two. So we're going to gain a little bit more height anyway. Now I don't want it to be too high because it will start to obscure the building behind it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build up these towers. I'm going to make these a little bit more ornate, and then what we're also going to do, we're going to create here along this bit, and I've deliberately kept this as cobble. I'm going to put kind of little bits of different in there every now and again, but I'm not going to do too much, so kind of like that, just a little bit to give it some texture, but I'm going to keep it as cobble, and we're going to get a sweeping staircase that comes down and will kind of follow this nice little bowl area that we've got here, but not quite. I'm going to need to do again just a little bit of terraforming around there to get that right, but that will come down in a sweeping way, and I think it will look really, really good. So I'm going to be back when I have done a little bit more of that. So we've put in loads of structure. We've got a nice long sweeping set of steps that come down into this valley area. We'll kind of finish that off somehow in a minute. But what we have also got is some nice arches with an open area that's all similar kind of level on both sides, all one level, so we can do something in there. And also all of this green bit don't belong. I need to do something, although maybe not with all of it. Now I certainly want to get rid of those, for example, they're in the way, and if I do that I need to get rid of that and that and that. So Maybe I'll do something with some of that, but all in all, I don't want too much green. This is a very stony, rocky type of place. But what I do want, I want to get some of this area to be paved, but I want it to be paved in a different way to this, because I want this to be differentiated with the stuffs on either side. So this is going to be mostly cobble. So on this side, I think what we're going to do, I'm going to experiment and see whether or not it looks alright if we do it in mostly stone. So it's not something I often do because it looks quite flat, the stone on its own, but let's have a look and see what it does. If I just create this platform so as it is entirely stone, and then we'll start to replace bits and pieces as we go. But I'm hoping the flatness might actually contrast quite nicely with the rest of it. I've gone too far, that doesn't matter. Come on, get your aim right. There you go, we're around there. So once I've finished this platform, we'll just take a step back and see what it looks like as a single flat surface, and then we'll maybe try and just put a few little bits in. There we go, there, and there. Right, so if we take a step back, so what I want to do is I want to look at the contrast between the cobble and the flat smooth stone. Now if we imagine we get the odd bit of cobble in there, so let's just try, not mossy stone, where's my cobble, where's my cobble, have I lost, there it is, there's some cobble. Right, so if I get literally just the odd bit of cobble like that, and maybe one there, how does that look compared with, you know what, I think that might work. What do you guys think? Stick in the comments what you think to this particular part of the build, please. I'd be very interested. But if I then kind of create the steps down all the way across, and that will give us some perspective on what it will look like as a structure, coming all the way down. Oh, I can't drive, can I? What's going on with me? Let's get there, and those two. Right, again, take a step back, and I think contrasting with the cobble, that works really quite well, I think. I'm really quite pleased. And if I just put just a little bit of the odd block every now and again, I think that we might be onto a bit of a winner. So let's crack on with that and see what we end up with. So just keep building this, and I think what I'm going to do is just carry on and do all of it as smooth stone, and then randomly put the rest in. I think that's probably what's going to work best, so let's do that. Well, I've pretty much, I think, apart from some of the finer details, finished the basic structure. You can see what we've done is we've got, in these sides, we've got a little lava pool going there, look, and some just slight differentiation in some of the bricks. I've not put any differentiation in these bricks yet, apart from those three that I demoed a little bit earlier on, but I will do a little bit more. But I've been putting off doing something because I am properly nervous about it, because it could go really horribly wrong, or alternatively it could look absolutely brilliant. I'm not entirely sure which way it's going to go, so we're just going to have to try it and see, aren't we? So I'm going to come around here, and what I want to do is I want to put something coming over this archway, and I'm not kidding you, I'm proper nervous about this, because it really could not work in a bad way. So we're just going to try, and what I'm going to do first, I'm going to I need to get a little bit up in the air, not too far. Is that going to be enough? Let's come up just one more, and I want to create a bit of a line here, and I'm not quite sure how it's going to work. This is a bit of an experiment. So I come here like that, and then I want to come down like that, sort of that shape, maybe coming across like that. So if I now come out, I'm just using red brick for now. Some of this is going to get replaced. I'm just trying to get a bit of a structure. I'm coming up and around and around and around. So that's the centre bit there. Okay, so I come down there, and then I'm just going to try and repeat what I've done. Kind of around, so I've got 1, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Build that out again. Come along 1 and then there and there, there and there, then 1, and there and there, and then 1 like that, and then I'm going to just fill this in just to get, because I'm not sure I've done that quite right at the moment. No, I've not come out far enough somehow. So what have I not done? So there, that's where I've not come out far enough. So if I come out there, and then there, and then there, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there, and then there, and there, and there, and there. Now that looks about right. So let's take that one out. There. So I need it to be symmetrical, which is why I'm making funny noises down the microphone. Because I want it to be symmetrical, and that can come back. Actually, no, out there. This can come all the way back up to there. Okay, so let me just look how this looks at the moment. I need to look at it from a distance. That's okay. That might be alright. That might be alright. I think the basic shape of what I want is there. I just now need to not spoil it and make sure that I've come out far enough here. And this bit is going to be fine and follow the whole thing. And come out there and there and there and there. There and there. May have come in, or not gone high enough. It's possible. So that bit, that doesn't want that there, and it doesn't want that there. So that's like that. Yeah, that could work. That could work. This could work, people. I don't want to speak too soon, but this might just work. And if I come in across there, now what we're going to do, we're going to end up absorbing some of the wall, but that's okay. There. So if I come out equal to this at the moment, like that. So it's almost right. It's almost right, but not quite. How's that coming? That comes in there like that, I think. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of tidying up to do on this one, fella. I'll tell you that for nothing. Right, so just that comes around like that, and that comes out like that. That's going to come there, there, and there. There, there, and that loses out there. So we're sort of all right. This is going to come out. I need this to come. What? There, 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 and there. There and there, and then I come up a little bit further. We've got some serious work to do. It's not going to be easy, but it will be worth it in the end. Stick with me here, people. This is going to work if we're really lucky. If we're really lucky. And if we're not really lucky, this is going to look like some horrible mess that some nutcase with a block in his hand thought would be a good idea. That's me, by the way, in case people haven't worked that out. So, I'm going to come that way and down and across. And then back out in here. And then bring that back. There, there, and there. Then that can fill, and that can fill, and stick 2 more on there. Okay, so how's that looking from a symmetrical perspective? That is looking okay. Now, I would say, can you tell what it is? But I'm assuming you have seen the thumbnail, and either you will know that this has gone horribly wrong because it's not on the thumbnail, which is a bit of a giveaway, or you know what it is already. So there's very little point in me saying, do you know what it is? Because you clearly will, or it won't work anyway and it'll be irrelevant. So what I want to do, I want to get a magma cube under there and another magma cube. Hang on, let me look. Of course, that's not come out far enough, has it? Right, so that's not equal. So I'm just going to get rid of that magma cube there. That needs to come out one more. Right, okay, I see why it looked weird. I see why it looked weird. It's because it weren't right. That's like that, and that is like that. And that now is... I think that might be right. Okay, so hopefully that's going to look a little bit better. So let's get a magma cube in there. Come under here. Get a magma cube in there. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to come out this way. That's possibly alright. Let's get some orange. Go there and there. And go there and there. So I've got... So these need to... I'm going to put white next to the magma cube. There and there. And then I'm going to fill in this bit with a bit more red along here. Like that. There and there. And come around. Ah, please work. Please work. What's not happened there? Right, so that's got to come up. There. There and there. And there, I think. And there. So what's not right there? Something's not quite right there. Not sure. So let's get some... I'm going to put red in there again. Actually, I think this needs to fill with red, otherwise it won't look quite right. So that can be red. That can be red. That needs to come there. That needs to come there. So can you see what I am trying to do? Now this is the point in the comments where you say, you pause the video and you say, Avo, you are some kind of nutcase. What are you trying to achieve here, pal? Or words to that effect. In your own words, obviously. You can do that. So let's come there and there. There, 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 there and there. There, there, there and there. And there and there. Okay, so that's sort of right. Sort of right. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that so far. Then we're going to come under here and we've got to start to build up the kind of the rest of it. And we need to be careful because what we're not going to do and achieve here is building the whole thing, because that just won't work. But we need to get some kind of connective structure here, otherwise it's going to look really, really odd. There and under there, there and under there and under there and under there. So let's come under like that, there, there. So this bit, I'm not as worried about the symmetry of this bit as I was with the rest of it, because it doesn't have to be symmetrical, this part. In fact, it almost wants to not be. But what it can't be is too blocky. It needs to be at least a little bit not blocky. Is that such a thing, a little bit not blocky? I don't know. When I get nervous about a build specifically, I do get just a little bit chatty and talky and basically talk rubbish. And that is what you are getting from me right now, is the rubbish talking. So just putting this around like that. Let's carry on there. That can go like that, that can go like that. And those two. There's that there and there. That can go like that, that can go like that. And there and there. That needs to be a little bit better than that, doesn't it, mate? There and there, about that. How does that look from the back? That looks alright, I think. So then what we've got to do is we've got to just carry on with this a little bit further and make sure that we don't lose our mind. So come down there, there, and there. So we need to start to build this across now as well, aren't we? So that needs to come across like that. That needs to come in like that. That comes over like that. And then build in a bit there. needs to come across there and like that. Okay, so let's see what we've got there so far. Now it's very red, and we're going to fix the fact that it's very red in a minute because it doesn't want to be completely red. But altogether, not too shabby, Pally. That is a decent start. So I'm not going to build an entire one of these. I'm just going to build it. Oh, what's that in there? What's that in there? So I'm just going to build it so as it's coming out of an hole. And you could argue that, no, Avo, you want to build the whole thing. But then this becomes the feature and the portal doesn't. And what I don't want to do is detract too much from the portal, because the portal is what's important here. And if I make this too big a thing, then that's going to detract way too much from the portal, and I'm not going to... Basically, I'm going to get really irritated with myself because it needs to be almost secondary, if you like. So this is coming out like this. We are, however, going to have to build up a little bit more than just this neck thing, because it's kind of twisting its head a little bit here. I'm going to have to build up around like that, and on this side it's going to come out there. And I'm just going to carry on doing this a little bit, and I'll be back in just a sec before I do too much else. So we've kind of finished the basic outline of this. I'm not entirely happy with the way the back looks, but what we're going to do is we're going to make this fella disappear into like an open cavey thing. I mean, this just isn't quite right, this bit here. He just looks like he's a bit kind of misformed, if you like, and nothing's worse than a misformed dragon. I'm not going to do wings because, frankly, again, for exactly the same reason as the other problem we'd have with it overpowering. If we had it making like huge wings with massive wings coming out the side of it, that would cause some issues, in my mind anyway, for it being just a little bit too overpowering for the entire build. And the last thing you want is a dragon coming over the top of your build, and your build ceases to be the most interesting thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to build what's effectively a cave mouth coming out of here, and this dragon is going to be coming out of the cave. I want just a little bit of a space around, because I don't want it to be too regular a cave either. So coming out, and it's got to be big enough for the thing to get out of as well, obviously. So we're going to come around like this, and I'm well aware of the fact that this is also a hill, which means that we've got a lot of cave building to do. I won't subject you to all of it, but it's quite important that we get sufficient caveage for this monster to be able to come out. Now, dragons are magic, so you need to think, well, this is a magic dragon, so therefore, of course it can fit out of the cave, because it's magic, and dragons are magic. And I'm just going to say magic once more, magic. And that is why that is easily a big enough cave for this big fella to come out of. And what I'm going to do, and we've not finished him, don't panic, don't start saying to me, Avo, that dragon, he's not finished. I know it's not finished. I'm very well aware of the fact the dragon is not finished, but I do need to get this cave so as then I've got some perspective as to what I need to do with the rest of him, because there's no point in me building stuff out on him if all it's going to do is get crushed by a cave. That would be terribly unfortunate and a little bit of a waste of time for everybody. Actually, you've already watched this video for what, about 46 hours now, and I'm very well aware that we need to get to its conclusion before it's too late and before you decide that you want to go off and maybe slit your wrists because it's taking forever. But all in all, I think mostly the cave is going to be coming around this side. I don't want it to be too... See, that's way too regular there, isn't it? So let's get that a little bit like that and come around. That cave can come like this. Again, harnessing the magic that is the cave, we will be finishing it off by coming out a little bit further, up and around. Can you tell what I'm making up as I go along? Is it really obvious? I think it blooming is. Right, come on then, down. That's going to come out a little bit further there. So that can come out a little bit further there like that. That can come down there. down there. We'll carry on with this in a minute, and then that can come, see, that needs to come out there now, doesn't it? That can go there, that can go like that. We're going to use different natural blocks as well, like we have with the rest of the build, because a purely cobblestone cave would then look really strange in amongst everything else. But I think we're getting there. Just kind of have to trim this cave mouth off, and inside the cave we're going to have to do something to make it look kind of dark and dingy, and essentially you not be able to see what's going on inside that cave, because you don't go into a dragon's lair. That would be bad. So let's just get this cave like that, like that, like that, like that, and then like that. So you can see we're starting to build a fairly irregular shape. So I'm just going to carry on and crack on with that, and I'll be back when I'm done. Right, we are nearly there, people. This is a bit exciting. What we've got in here is we've got a cave that's magic, which is why it can get out, because it's only a little tiny hole. But inside the cave we've got all of that magma that it's coming out of, because that's what dragons like to sleep in. Did you know that? It likes magma. It's like a nice bed for it. That's what it is. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to randomly, very much like we did with the walls, put in some other coloured blocks. And I've got basically blocks that are in keeping with this particular colour scheme, which are orange, and I'm going to stick some yellow in there as well. And we'll do some other quite interesting stuff with it too, I think. Not just so as it's orange and yellow blocks like this, but I want to make it just a little bit more interesting, like that. So that one can be orange, so it's knuckle orange, that can be orange. So just carry on around this poor animal that I have created. I've got to feel sorry for it a little bit, until we've got just a little bit of spot colour on it. Makes it a little bit more interesting to look at, like that. So if we take a step back, this arm is a little orange lacking, so let's get some orange in there, and there, and one in there. Let's also get a little bit of yellow, and not too much again, just a little bit, so as it's interesting. It's mostly red, but just a little bit makes it stand out a little bit more. This is sort of, again, semi-random where I'm putting these, semi-random, because I'm doing it in a way that I think looks aesthetically pleasing. So the back of its head there needs a little bit of work, doesn't it? One there, and perhaps one there. So how are we looking? Where's it a bit yellow absent? There's not any yellow really here, so let's get a bit of yellow there, a little bit of yellow on the shoulder. Coming around, there's not really much yellow going on the back, and it needs something, I reckon, there as well. Again, take a step back. What do we think? We think that it's alright-ish. You know what, I wonder if it might be better if we wrap, if that eye is visible from the side, you know. I think I like it better. Let's get rid of that red block on the side so that eye actually wraps around a little bit more, and then maybe I think that makes it look just a little bit more angry. So then what we're going to do in here, we're going to replace these blocks in here with white, like that. And I wonder how we can, I'm not sure how we're going to do this. There we go, put that like that and that like that, and then it gives a little bit more separation. I want some spider web, I think. So let's put web, get a little bit of web. I'm going to want that in a minute. So let's get its nostrils going here. So we're going to have there and there, there, there and there, there and there, and then we want that to come out. We're going to lose that orange block, aren't we, because that's not going to work there, so we can put it back there. And how are we going to get, so the nostrils are sort of there, aren't they? So if I get, does that work? No, it doesn't. I don't like it. Let's get rid of it. Trial and error. But that didn't quite work, did it? Okay, that's fine. We don't mind if stuff don't work. Stuff don't work, it is perfectly fine. I am also going to lose those because I think that spoils it a little bit also. So we've got what looks like a sort of a dragonish sort of thing. What we probably need to do is get something going down its back, don't we? So what should we do that in black? What would that look like, I wonder? So we've got, it's too wide. So if I do, I don't know, like that, and then like that, and then perhaps like that. So take a step back. How is that looking so far? Well, that one on the top there looks a bit daft. So actually, let's put that like that. My jury is out on this one at the moment. I'm not entirely sure that this is working. How is that looking? I don't know. What do we think in the comments? I'm going to leave it for now, I think. And I'm going to get one there and one up like that. And I think that will do it because I don't want to overdo it. Just a little bit down the back was what I was after. And I think that is going to have to do because I'm in danger of overdoing it all now. But that looks alright, actually, that's okay. So all I need to do now is just get a little bit of detail going on the rest of the building. And one of the things I wanted to do was get some lava in this trough. So I'm just going to put some lava across the top here. And there. That will go down into the trough and it won't flow over everywhere, that's great. Then come across here. I've got another little lava tray there that I want to flow down. That should work quite nicely, I hope. That should just check in. I'm just checking it doesn't go messy. That's great, we like that. And then I've got a little water flow thing here that I want to fill up. This bit at the front, that's going to get some water in it. Like that. So that water should flow down into that thing at the bottom, and that makes for quite a nice little effect as well. So we just need to put some final little bits of detail on there, and then we need to light the portal. So let's get the detail done and then we'll light everything. So we are ready to give this thing a bit of a light up. So first off, we're going to light up all of the fiery pits. We'll do the other bit last. So let's light that. Let's go all the way around the edge first. Except when I miss, obviously, and then light up the top bit, and I'm going to catch fire possibly by going too close. And there we go. So that looks like that, and that actually looks brilliant. I'm really pleased. That's brilliant. So let's go around and light the rest of it. So that's those fire pits done. That leaves us with these fellas on the ends of this. I don't know if you saw, but I put some in there as well. That looks kind of cool. And then we'll get one here. Get that fella lit. And then get the hanging basket lit as well. Which leaves us with just the portal. So let's come and light this fella up. Hopefully the dragon won't eat our face before we light it. And all we need to do is just give that one little flick there and one portal. Thank you very much. So that, my friends, is a finished system. So there we've got a finished Nether Portal. It's very grand. I'm sure that you could just keep working on it forever and ever, but I just want to leave it like that because if you overdo things a little too much, they don't look quite as good. And we've got our wingless dragon, this poor fella, born without wings. You've got to feel sorry for it. It is staring over the top, just waiting for someone to come along to try and get through his portal so he can eat their face. That is one finished portal. If you have enjoyed this video, please do think very, very strongly about hitting that like button. It would be great to see if we can get some likes on this, and then I'll start doing maybe some more big builds like this in the future, and you can give me some ideas. Also, if you haven't done it already, you're very naughty, but make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll look forward to seeing you in my sub club. I look forward to seeing you in another video too. Let's take it easy now. Bye.